Hello and welcome to the BVB update ahead of tomorrow's match against Hertha Berlin on matchday 4 at the Olympiastadion. It's 3:30 local kickoff time, and of course I want to yet again try to predict the lineup of the 11 men that Edin Terzic will field, and I'm sure I will be incorrect, but nevertheless let's start with the team news. And here you can already see it's a mixed bag today, because Karim Adeyemi and Marco Reus did travel with the team. Adeyemi, of course, was laboring on that right toe injury that he sort of picked up in the tackle with Hincapie from matchday 1 against Leverkusen. And Marco Reus did receive a knock on his calf during training this week, but even though he was doubtful, is ready to play. But the bad news is that Mo Dahoud is not yet ready to play after popping out his shoulder against Bremen, and Gio Reyna, who played 28 minutes against Werder Bremen, is also not available. The reason for that, unknown. Also unavailable is Matteo Morey, and Nico Schulz and Manuel Akanji obviously have not been included in anything, are out, and sadly Sebastian Aller still out for the long term. But there was also one interesting thing, and that is Mats Hummels had his knees weirdly taped. Here you can see them, nice Borussia Dortmund tape. And he explained to Ruhrnachrichten that he slid knee first into the goalpost during the final team training, and thus the bandages, but it's apparently nothing bad. And with that, we can move over to my lineup prediction. And, as you can see, obviously no surprising goal with Gregor Kobel, but then as kicker, I think even wrote this week, it would make sense to switch to a back three, especially when Dahoud isn't playing. Dortmund have struggled with their ball retention and passing accuracy against Werder Bremen. I think the passing accuracy was somewhere around 77%, which for a top team like Borussia Dortmund is obviously too low. And hence I would try to mend that with the build-up. And obviously Dahoud is a massive loss in that regard. And I would plug in Özcan just because Emre Can was so terrible against Werder Bremen that he has not deserved to play a minute again. And when it comes to the fullbacks, I think Guerreiro is sort of your only left-back option right now. And I would actually stick with Wolf, even though he did not cover himself in glory toward the end against Werder Bremen. Either be it the third goal or the first goal. In fact, however, he is much faster than Thomas Meunier, and Hertha Berlin do have very pacey attackers, so I think his pace will be much needed. And as I said before, the very good news is that Karim Adeyemi is back. And because he is back, I would actually add Moukoko on the left side, because Dortmund need to overload the left side when Adeyemi has the ball, because then Adeyemi will switch the play from the right side to the left side. That was a very effective move in Dortmund's attack in the first couple of games. And if that so happens, then Dortmund can cut from the left side back to the right, and maybe find then Adeyemi in open space, which is something that really worked out well against Leverkusen when he sort of scored, and also already worked well against 1860 Munich. And maybe we'll see more of that. And this is either Moukoko up front or Bynoe-Gittens, but Dortmund do need some finishing up front. And Marco Reus, I think under Terzic, is pretty much set in stone, and so is Jude Bellingham, even though both aren't performing at the absolute best. But that is my lineup prediction. Let's see what we'll see tomorrow. I can also see Jamie Bynoe-Gittens starting again, because you want to have some dribbling power on the left side. And ideally, you would start Daniel Malen actually, and then have Adeyemi on the right, because they just help each other move the ball around in attack. But sadly, this is not an option. As I said yesterday, Daniel Malen is still out for 7 to 10 days, as Terzic said at the news conference. So do not expect him to be back anytime soon. And one more story actually, and that is around Alexander Isak, because he just made the move from Real Sociedad to Newcastle, and the reported fee is around 70 million euros. Now, what Ruhrnachrichten are reporting is that Dortmund are not earning anything on that transfer. Sometimes it is so that the club sells a player, and previous clubs then also get a certain percentage of the transfer fee. And I asked Manuel Feth the other day from transfermarkt.com, and he told me that maybe Dortmund would get 20%, so that would be 14 million, but not so. It's actually 0, because Dortmund did sell that clause in the contract along with the buyback option back in the day, which I think was around 30 million. So theoretically, Dortmund could have bought Isak back for 30 million, but I don't think this ever would have happened anyway. But yeah, nevertheless, still not cool that Dortmund are missing out on 14 million euros right now, because who could have predicted that Newcastle would spend this sort of amount of crazy money. Anyway, that's it from me. As always, thank you for watching and enjoy the game. Goodbye.